Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Savio Rodrigues with Trianz, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Phanii Pydimarri, Senior Director of AI and Analytics Products at Stanley Black & Decker. Phanii is a data champion with a history of being a strong strategic asset and a driver of innovation and outcomes with multi-million-dollar revenue impacts. He plays a key role in enabling large-scale enterprise data infrastructure and platforms for driving a data-driven culture by using data engineering, data governance, data enablement, data quality, and data literacy techniques. It's very nice to speak with you, Phanii, today.
Thanks for having me, Savio. Definitely looking forward to sharing my perspective, opinions, and experiences here.
Artificial intelligence is hailed as the ultimate future technology, and there is no shortage of articles about how AI can cure diseases, accelerate innovation, improve humanity, human creativity. Some of it we've talked from the earlier question that you answered. However, outside of large digital savvy organizations, AI adoption across industries is low. So what do you think are some of the biggest opportunities that mid-sized companies are missing out in the application of AI?
Yeah, so it's more to do with the culture, right? The culture and being proactive or being complacent with where they are. It's, again, trying to get out, or maybe wait and see how a fellow competition or a fellow industry company has used a particular technology. Not everybody would be the leaders in the industry. So that might be one of the factors. But then we all know that the overall AI market size, based on a most recent research that IDC performed, said that by 2024, the AI market size will grow to by 2024, the overall market size will reach to $500 billion. Right? That shows the adoption of AI and how AI is really capturing the market. And then there is another research which actually said by 2030, we'll actually have AI market size grow to $1.5 trillion. And that's massive, right? $1.5 trillion of market size for AI tells me that there is so much excitement. There's so many companies who eventually are forced to get into using AI technologies, which is what is already happening, right? And another study that said 43% of their respondents actually said that the organizations will be transformed by using technology within a particular time span, which is AI. And 36% of them feel like that disruption is going to happen in their industry. Like I said earlier, construction technology, construction space, which we know was the last to adopt into the technologies or at least not the coolest industry to be in, is now trying to drive all of those AI applications. So I would say that is one area that companies should start looking into. But then the other area is people like myself, the chief data, digital, and analytics officers, have a great role to play in this one. There's a level of anxiety, there is a level of fear in terms of investments, but then here's where the role of chief digital officers, chief data officers, and chief analytics officers come in, and they must invest this time in driving and identifying those untapped opportunities. What are those untapped opportunities within a particular space? I've seen AI being used in food and beverages industry, right? Improving the quality of the food. And spend a lot of time with the executive leadership within the organizations. Really explain to them what is the overall value that AI can bring in. Invest in those proof of concepts. Of course, with the predicament that you have a framework to go from proof of concept to production deployment, but invest in really getting those board members excited, the executive leaders excitement, the C-suite excited about these opportunities, and tie that back to the key performance outcome that the organization is looking for, right? It could be growing in a new market. It could be improving a market share of a particular product category. It could be in overall operational efficiency, and eventually how that ties back to the dollar number. But here's where I feel we as chief data digital officers have to take the responsibility. We have to own that and really educate our business executives. AI has been expanding across industries, across domains, and we see the adoption increase. Again, most recent study in 2021 shows that Yes, the most popular ones are healthcare, telecom, or business, legal professional services really being using AI. And they're using it across multiple functions. They're using it across human resources. They want to make sure that they identify or predict attrition or employee satisfaction, employee engagement. We know that manufacturing has been a big player in using AI for supply chain optimization, inventory management, or quality control, or asset maintenance, or asset product maintenance overall, warranty claims, etc. Marketing and sales has been the pioneer in this one. They've been using AI for almost for a long time, and they've been within that space. Marketing and space has been driving AI significantly well by using personalization, hyper personalization, overall high customer amount of customer care, high quality care back to the customer. And AI is also being used in new product development and service areas too. So there are multiple use cases across the industry, including pharma and healthcare. But there are these core foundational use cases that kind of apply across industries: quality control, customer care, monitoring and diagnostics, inventory management, personalization, cybersecurity, fraud detection. These kind of apply to all industries and all domains. So if a mid-sized company is struggling to identify those use cases, the chief data officer or the head of data analytics should take the responsibility of coming out and showing these use cases, investing time and resources in these use cases. Understand, we're all fighting day-to-day fires, but if we want to get to the next level, the leader should basically step up and really invest some R&D time to really dig through these use cases. And there are some really low-hanging fruits that companies can bring in with minimum investment too. So again, I'm hoping whoever is listening to this, if the companies are really questioning on the investments within that space, there's massive amount of use cases across the board, across different functions, different industries, and trying out few use cases to see how they perform for their organization would be a good way to go.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Phanii. And it leads a little bit into the next question, some of it what you answered here as well. And to a recent study that we came across, 85% of AI and machine learning projects fail to deliver, and only 53% of the projects make it from prototype to production. Of course, investments in AI show no signs of slowing down, as we talked a little bit about it earlier. And I'm sure many of our listeners are in the pre-launch phase of an AI initiative. So Phanii, what advice do you have to help leaders get their AI strategy right the first time?
Yeah, so couple of things in this. The way I usually approach is keep the solutioning to the end, right? As a leader, my first job is to really understand the opportunities on hand. And then I use, as I had mentioned before, I use a maturity scale that I built myself. Identify the current state, put it on the maturity scale, whether it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, 5 being the best ideal state that you would want to be. Identify where you are, and then come up with a strategy that becomes your North Star. From an organizational standpoint, what is that you would want to get to for the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you really want to get your organization into from a maturity standpoint? And really use that to drive your roadmap and how you would want to address it. So, pretty generic response here, but then from a strategic standpoint, you're basically using the strategy to tie back to your organizational goals, and then using that to drive your technology, digitization or digital transformation strategy, and then that drives your data strategy. So eventually it is an ecosystem that goes around, and the chief data officer or chief digital officer is right at the middle of it. And the chief digital officer or data officer or analytics officer or AI officer, we have all of these titles, but that head of data should be the point in driving all of these strategies across and connecting the dots across the board, because that is the only person who has the visibility across. The next step is, again, from a use case standpoint, identify those low-hanging fruits, really hit those home runs right away, because you would want to get your organization excited about what is really happening. Really get those simple use cases with minimum investments. Like I talked about some of the use cases, really get them from an ideation stage to production and showcase the value that they are bringing into the organization. It could be driving your defensive metrics or your offensive metrics, but eventually try and get them on. And then implement the product kind of mindset. Again, another cultural change, organizational transformation part would be bringing in the product frame of mind so that everything would be thought through as a product. Even if you're trying to build a particular dashboard, a data visualization solution could be a product that you're building. You have a proof of concept, you have a first version, alpha release, you have a beta release, and then you have version 1, 2, 3. If you can think through from that, you have a clear delivery timeline established with each of these features, and you're continuously establishing a continuous improvement cycle as you go through. You're not actually taking the 6-month or 12-month to really build a solution and come back and give the business. So that particular change in mindset also has to come in. Technology, strategy, and the overall approach in how you deliver that is all put together would be how I would drive the AI strategy. Again, literacy is a key element to it. I mean, whenever I tie this back to all the movies out there, whenever we hear the term artificial intelligence, it always brings us to mind robotics, right? Now, there's a level of artificial intelligence within robotics. That is absolutely true. There's a lot more in machine learning and data science in the form of supervised, unsupervised, or reinforcement learning. And there's artificial neural networks, which is much more advanced AI capabilities. And then you have computer vision capabilities as part of deep learning and all. So again, as a leader, you are responsible for educating. I mean, there is a level of deterrence because of the lack of clarity on what artificial intelligence really means. I keep seeing on forums asking the difference between AI and machine learning, even today. And AI is being used as the cool term, but it's eventually using data to solve some problems. Sometimes the data is existing. Sometimes in the modern day, we're also looking at or hearing the term synthetic data, which the machine creates the data to. So a lot of education, a lot of cultural change, and clarity in how you're approaching should be the way to go for anybody willing to invest in AI.
Yeah, and I think the literacy part, as well as the three-legged approach that you talked about earlier, is so apt. And I don't know how time has flown by, but we are almost out of time. But I wanted to end on the subject of effective change management. How can organizations ensure their digital transformation goes beyond technology investments and become a part of their company's culture?
Yeah. So it all comes down to people, right? Organization is nothing but people. And how you would want to grow from where you are, the maturity of 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, it all comes down to the people within the organization. When I say people, it's not just the doers, it's the leadership which is providing the guidance to. And I always feel it has to be top down. If the executive leadership is really excited about a particular technology, if a particular executive leadership or the board is really excited about the opportunity AI can bring within their space, that's the best thing to happen for any organization, because that trickles down. And then everything else would be operational challenges that could be addressed. But if the executives are not bought into this, then the data leader will be struggling. And that's why we've been seeing some of these chief data officers tenure discussion coming in. And that's one of the reasons too. But then if there is a top-down approach that is identified, and eventually the organizational leadership and people have clarity from an organizational standpoint on how the business strategy will be influenced by investing in digital transformation or emerging technologies or advanced analytics, that's where you would really want to be. If there is no alignment even across any of these, I would say the leaders out there who are responsible, the chief digital officers or data officers or analytics officers, have to spend that time in educating them before starting and implementing something right away. So the overall strategy has to tie back to the outcomes, and the overall strategy has to tie back to the technology strategy or digital strategy or data strategy. But eventually I would see this as a circular ecosystem where everything is tied back to that component of data, and that is actually driving the organizational value.
Well, that's about all the time we have. And I must say, Phanii, it was such a wonderful conversation for me personally, and I'm sure for the listeners. You're so deep and passionate about this subject. I really appreciate the time you have given us today. And I'd like to thank my guest, Phanii Pydimarri, Senior Director, AI and Analytics, Products at Stanley Black & Decker. Thank you so much for your time, Phanii. Please visit CDO Magazine Tech for additional interviews.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.